was a booklet that you had out when you were, I think, a supervisor in Canada called Passion for Practice. And I'm just wondering, that's maybe 17 years ago, where that has gone since. Has has the type of learning that happened there, which seemed to begin in small classroom areas, and then the students built up their expertise in doing research, and you published various, I'm not sure if you'd call them journals, but booklets and in books and information books of how they of their work. So has that had an influence over all those years, apart from on yourself and the developing of others within the living theory context?
I know what you're referring to, passionate professional practice.
That's
Yes.
it.
And
Yeah.
we published 8 volumes, if you can imagine, and they're books. And the one thing that really, that image that still comes to me when I think about that is we would work together, this group of teachers and I, all year, and they would ask the basic question, how can I improve my practice, and do their research. And then we would collect their projects and publish them. And when you get that book and you say, here's your research in this book. And you know what, they'd hug it. It was like a child or something, that they were so happy that somebody cared enough to publish their work, and it was out there and their knowledge was being shared. Because, I tell them all about how they have this personal, practical, embodied knowledge that no one else has. And if they don't publish it, other people speak for them. Other people who have probably never been in a classroom, have never worked with kids, who are telling them what their life is like in a classroom, or how they should teach these children here.
Yeah.
And so that they feel like they've made a contribution, and so most of the volumes that were actually text-based I've given away, but the whole 8 volumes is on Jack's website, and I can send you the URL. So it's there available, in terms of accessing it if people want to. And I think what's really exciting about that work and is that it's teachers speaking with their own voices. It doesn't sound like an academic, because they didn't do it for academic credit. They only did it for their own personal, professional development. And they were their questions. So they'd say things like, I felt totally in control of the whole process. And you could hear their confidence, once they could say, this is how I've improved, and this is how I know. And so they've collected the data. They know that piece of information knowledge, and nobody can question them in terms of their knowing, because they are sure of themselves. They've seen it. They've done it themselves. Let me finish what you asked me first of all.
Okay,
so you
sorry.
said, how do you know it's had any influence in the long term?
Good. Yeah.
Right. And I would say that the answer to that question is in the teachers themselves and their confidence, and they're continuing that reflective practice. They maybe are not, publishing what they're doing, but it is part of the way they teach now. They teach and learn. And many of them actually went on to do degrees. So they use that as kind of learning the process. And then and many of them were in my master's courses, because it's like, well, now I know I can do this, right? And so then they went on to get their master's degrees. And now 2 of them, I think maybe there are 3, have now got their PhDs. So, it kind of, it starts to build the confidence that I'm a researcher, I mean, it's not somebody else out there who can do this. I can do it. And the other point I would make is that many of them are leaders in their school systems. So in the last group I had in the Blue Water District School Board, out of that group, there are now, I think, 4 of them who are superintendents. And many of them are school administrators or curriculum coordinators. So it builds those values-based leadership skills. So I think that's the other side of what I would say is, how do you know there's long-term influence? Well, and within the Blue Water Board, Kathy Griffin in particular has been doing these, they call it BARN, Blue Water Action Research Group, teaching teachers to do this kind of research just for professional development. And she's starting another group this year only with school administrators. So it still goes on.